I start a new job in less than 24 hours. First time in a while that I've upped and changed careers, to be honest. But the pay is far too good to pass up. Never did I imagine that I, a mere high school graduate with no discernible skills, would ever have the chance to make double digits on the hour. A full 40 every week too. And other than being the graveyard shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., it seemed like the job was cake. I had happened to come across the help wanted ad completely by accident. Honestly, I can't even tell you the last time that I bought a physical paper, or what whim had inspired me to do so that day. Nevertheless, I did. And a few moments later, I found myself dreamily flipping through the crisp pages. I wasn't paying attention at all, until I found my eyes land on the small, black box of text in the bottom corner of page 5. Wanted. Night shift for local radio station. Not a people person? Great. Insomniac? Even better. The pay starts at... Well, I don't know what it says about me or my self-worth, that I thought there was a typo in the dollar amount. Interested party should apply at 1302 Crenshaw Street. The ad was quirky. I liked it. The $8 an hour that I made at my McJob didn't hold a candle to the offer, and as much as I hated to admit it, I am not in fact a people person. I was sure they needed someone with experience or an education, but like my father always told me, the worst they can say is no. And so I put down the newspaper, threw on the only formal attire, yep, funeral clothes, and I drove my old beater to Crenshaw Street. WKIL, you're riding the wave. I heard the tagline a time or two. To be honest, I'm still quite proud of my collection of, totally legally obtained burned CDs, so I rarely ever listen to the radio. So, as it turns out, it can actually be quite surreal to see a radio station. A several-story building with no real markings to speak of, aside from the perfectly aligned windows climbing the brick walls. I always imagined studio label posters and those little golden records adorning the wall. A Howard Stern-looking DJ behind a glass wall, barking into a microphone. The reality, though, was much different. The short, portly man guffawed and nearly spewed out his drink when I walked through the door. "Dude, you're so overdressed," he chuckled. I saw from his attire that he was right. Jean shorts and a tie-dyed shirt seemed to be the station's dress code, and surprisingly in that situation, I was the one whose face flushed. "Chill, dude, I'm Declan," he said, and didn't stand from a swivel chair as he extended his hand. "Ryan Daniels," I answered back, taking his plump digits into my own sweaty hand. "You hear about the ad, or did someone order an undertaker?" Declan asked, smirking up at me. We talked for about 30 minutes, and it was more casual than any interview I had ever had. I confess that I always imagined a radio station as some glib building that stood on some clear hill on the outskirts of town, and I was a bit surprised to find that it was along one of the busiest roads in the city. He laughed and then he offered me a tour of the place. He showed me the main equipment, which looked like a whole bunch of sci-fi garbage to me. He must have seen the confusion in my eyes, because he immediately assured me that I wouldn't be responsible for any of it. "Follow me," he said, and he led me through a short hall past 2 doors labeled Studio 1 and Studio 2, respectively, toward what looked like a dead end. I was about to speak up to question his direction, when he stopped dead in his tracks. "You'll be spending most of your time upstairs." I then noticed the nondescript white elevator that perfectly matched the paint job of the hallway. Declan pressed the button, and the doors silently slid open, revealing a sleek silver carriage. I followed him into the small, cramped space, and I noticed that there were only 2 buttons. One labeled 1, the other reading 5. He pressed 5, and we started our upward journey. Once our destination had been reached, Declan stepped out and held his arms open in a gesture of presentation. A large open floor lined with plain white doors, a water cooler in the dead center of the room, with small paper cups stacked on top of the blue jug. You'll spend most of the night in the security room, but there will be times you have to venture out. Change the playlist downstairs, fix any hiccups on the computer. Don't worry, it's just like your PC at home. You won't be messing with the broadcasting stuff. He reiterated as I followed him to the one door with a placard. Here we are, your kingdom. He threw open the door to reveal a desk and a screen showing 12 different camera views. You self-motivated, Ryan? You'll be working all alone? He asked. If I say yes, I got the job, right? I said, cracking a smile. Yeah, you've got the job, Declan said, returning my smile. As the tour concluded, he explained that the previous night worker was retiring after 30 years with the station. I would have big shoes to fill, but I assured Declan that I was up to the challenge. We settled on this Tuesday to start, as it would allow me to work out my notice at my old job. Yeah, I quit that day and I have been on a 2-week vacation ever since. I used the time to acclimate myself to night shift. Honestly, I've been pretty excited. And that brings us to today. As I said, I'm getting used to staying up all night. It's been pretty cool. Pretty quiet too, up until now. I was on a show bench when I heard the unmistakable metal scraping of my mailbox. It was one of those ugly black things attached to the wall just outside of my door. What the hell? I thought to myself as I bolted upright on my couch. The scraping noise had startled me for sure, and I sat frozen for a good 30 seconds or so. The mail most certainly does not run in the middle of the night, and I don't live in the best neighborhood. And while I've never had a break-in or anything like that, I do keep an old Louisville Slugger by the door just in case. And so, wearing nothing but my smiley face boxers, I did the world's worst impression of a cat, and I slunk towards my front door, grabbing the bat before slowly opening it. There was no one there. I was confused and I looked towards my mailbox to see the corner of an old-looking, aged yellow envelope. I plucked it from the metal container, the screech hitting my ears once more. On the face of the parcel, scrawled in exquisite cursive, were 2 words. New guy. I looked up and I squinted my eyes, not sure if the shadowy figure limping down the road through the halos of streetlights was real or not. Slowly, I receded into my home, and I propped the baseball bat back in its place as I locked the door. I stumbled back towards my couch, my eyes focused entirely on the small envelope in my hands. New guy. Was this about the job? I turned the envelope over to see that it wasn't sealed. The paper crinkled as I lifted the flap and I peeked inside. Sure enough, there was a letter there. I fished it out carefully as it looked so old. It had been crumpled, torn, and taped back together. The yellow page looked as if it had survived a war, only to wind up neatly folded and dropped in my mailbox. Slowly, I unfolded it, and I saw the same perfect cursive written on it, from the very top to the very bottom. So, you've been chosen as the next guardian. Congratulations. I implore you to take the contents of this letter seriously, as they not only could save your life, they absolutely, unequivocally will. This parchment should be kept with you at all times. Its importance is second only to the Holy Bible. During my tenure as guardian, I have experienced many anomalies. It is my wish for you to enter into your duties better prepared, and so I have composed a list of mandatory steps to ensure a successful night. This list is not exhaustive, and is only meant to help you out with mandatory activities. I expect that you'll run into many things you may want to add to this list, but for now, 1. From 11 to 12, you should take care of your duties. This will be your only free time, and so be hasty. 2. Be in the security office by 12:01. This is non-negotiable. During this time, you may see an absurdly tall woman on camera number 3. Do not attempt to call the police or anyone else. It will only make things worse. 3. At 12:21, you may leave the office, but I encourage that you stay away from the windows on the 5th floor. If you do happen to wander over, try not to make visual contact with the jumper in the hotel across the street. If you accidentally do see the bean, pretend that you didn't. Do not attempt to interfere with her task. 4. If you are thirsty, you can get a drink from the cooler between 12:30 and 12:33. Not before and not after, unless you enjoy the taste of death or want the company of a disembodied voice for the rest of the night. 5. 1 in the morning, you must take the elevator down to the 1st floor. You have precisely 5 minutes to do so if you wish to stay in this reality. If you fail to do this, all hell will break loose. 6. If you successfully make it to the 1st floor, you are to open the studio door marked 1. No matter what you see in there or what it says, never open door 2, ever. 7. Feel free to roam the 1st floor until 2 a.m. Do not attempt to return to the 5th floor, and do not attempt to leave the building. Make sure you stay near the main entrance. 8. At 2:15, you'll need to access the computer. The password you'll need differs from the one taped to the monitor. Zigly, capital Z. There will be a single file on the desktop called zingly.wave. Play it. Yes, this will go out over the airwaves. No, no one will notice it, but it is mandatory. 9. At 2:47 exactly, be in the elevator, but press and no button. The doors will close automatically. Do not panic. It will feel as if you haven't moved, but when the doors open again, do not step out. You have moved. What you see is not your building. The doors will close again in 2 minutes. 10. Exit the elevator once the doors open a second time. Even if what you see does not look like your building, no matter what it looks like, you must exit here. It is your last chance. 11. Welcome to the 2nd floor. There may be slight variations, like it could be on fire or flooded, but generally it'll still be a large, brightly lit white room with no doors. Don't panic when you realize that the elevator had vanished. It should be back. The amount of time you spend here will vary anywhere between 5 seconds to 30, which is good because if you get one of the bad variations, you don't want to be stuck here for long. When the elevator doors reappear and open, get in immediately. Pay no mind to the dead child in there. 12. Once back in the elevator, it'll be 5 a.m. It doesn't matter how long you spent on the 2nd floor, it will be 5 a.m. One more stop to go, and it's a doozy. Again, press no buttons. The elevator will take care of everything. 13. You'll arrive on the 4th floor at 5:02. It will be a mirror image of the 5th, but don't be fooled. Now, this part is extremely important. Once you step off of the elevator, make your way to the water cooler. You're to take 1 paper cup and fill it with water. Fill it. Place it on top of the cooler, and please don't get any on yourself. Your skin doesn't need that disease. After that is done, make your way to the 4th floor security room. 14. Lock the door behind you. I can't overstate this step. Take your seat and open the notebook on your desk. You'll be here for the next hour. This is the job that you were hired to do. 15. You're to watch the cameras closely and jot down the activities of the faceless man on camera 3, the crawling hand on camera 8, and the statue on camera 11. Do not raise any alarms no matter what. And if at all possible, don't react to anything, especially if the doorknob behind you starts to rattle. 16. 6:05, the cameras will go dark, and that's your cue to book it to the elevator. But do not leave before the cameras go off, for your sanity's sake. You have a single minute to get there while the doors are open. If they aren't in the booth at the same time, may God have mercy on you. If you are on it when the doors close, congratulations, you're almost done. The next time the doors open, you'll exit on the 5th floor, the real one. 17. Between 6:05 and 6:55 a.m., you may wonder why the sun isn't up yet. Don't. Just make your way to the security office. Watch camera 6 closely. It will go out for an indeterminate amount of time. You must write down the exact time that it does, and the exact time that it comes back on. You shouldn't see anything weird when the feed returns, but if you do, it is of extreme importance that you never mention what you see to another soul, living or dead. 18. 7 a.m., clock out. Leave the note about camera 6's activity on your desk. Never take that piece of paper out of the security office. Congratulations, you survived your shift. Go home, get some rest, and be prepared to do it all again tonight. This is the most important job you'll ever have. PJ. What was I reading? Was this some kind of stupid-ass prank? Or maybe it's some kind of scare tactic from someone else who wants the job. I wouldn't put it past someone to do this to try and snag that ridiculously high pay for themselves. No way I'm letting that happen. This is a cherry gig, and I'm not backing down easily. What do you guys make of this? It couldn't possibly be real, right? Anyways, I'm gonna try to get some sleep. Tonight is my first night at the new job. I want to be fresh. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. If there's any way you could, please show support to the author, Dustin Bragg. I've linked his book in the description, Slappy's Diner. Please show support if you can. Thanks.